I was a super light sleeper during basic. One night I woke up for no reason. The sleeping bay was dark except for the light by the desk where the two soldiers on fire guard were supposed to be awake and alert. Both of them were leaning back in their chairs, dead asleep. I started to throw my covers off to go wake them up. If a drill sergeant came through and caught the fire guards sleeping, we would all pay. But then I heard a slow, scraping sound to my right off in the darkness. I froze and heard it again, closer. A few heartbeats later, I almost screamed out loud as I saw the sharp, intense face of our Samoan drill sergeant in the darkness. His face was covered in full camo. He was low crawling underneath the line of bunk beds towards the fire guard. He had a bayonet in between his teeth. We locked eyes and he silently raised one finger to his mouth, signaling for silence. I nodded and sat back to watch the show as the drill sergeant resumed his low crawl under and past my bunk in the direction of the sleeping guards. Story 15. I work at basic training ranges, and we had a drill sergeant yell at his soldier while they were getting ready to go down a buddy live fire exercise. The soldier froze and started crying. This 18-year-old kid was in tears for getting yelled at. The DS yelled at him some more and he finally gave up because the kid wouldn't stop crying. So he made him scoop tears off his face and put them in his pockets till he filled his pockets up with tears. He did this for like an hour. It was hilarious. Story 16. Not a drill instructor, but when I was going through basic, it was one of the trainees' birthdays when we went to the gas chamber for the experience of crowd control gas. This trainee happened to be Jewish. So first thing in the morning when we have the little huddle about what's going to happen that day, the TI asks if there are any questions. Trainee Goldberg, not his real name, but this dude was built like Goldberg, raises his hand and says, "Sir, don't you think it's a little screwed up to send a Jew to the gas chamber on his birthday?" And everyone bust up laughing, including our TI. But the story doesn't end there. We go to the dining facility for breakfast, and as he's going through the line, our TI yells out, "Trainee Goldberg, why don't you tell the other TIs what you told me this morning?" With a straight-faced, Trainee Goldberg says, "Oh, I was just telling our TI how it's pretty screwed up the Air Force is sending a Jew to the gas chamber on his birthday." All the TIs at the long table just fell silent, almost scared, and our TI just bust up laughing so hard. Trainee Goldberg, despite being 6'2" and solid muscle, was perhaps the funniest guy in our flight. He now owns a few gyms in his home state. Awesome guy. Story 17. So when you start basic, your body doesn't know how to handle no sugar, caffeine, rigorous exercise, and sleeping schedules, so it's in shock. With this shock, crapping becomes a problem for a few. Well, every DI after the first week is required to ask if everyone has taken a crap. And from there, he assigns one recruit to track who has crapped and who has not. I crap you not, pun intended. We had one guy who would stand in the barracks at the end of the night rolling off names of people who hadn't crapped yet. Finally, we have one guy who is still on there after 2 weeks. And the DI tells him to go to the doctor. The doctor gives him a get out of jail free card, essentially saying that at any point, he says the magical words, "I got it crap," and he can get out of any situation. Well, recruit can't crap, we'll call him, gets the smart idea that he's gonna play his new trump card as long as possible. Every time that we're getting grilled, "I got it crap," comes ringing in from the back of the formation. This probably happened 6 times until our DI caught on. Finally, our DI devises a plan. When recruit can't crap goes into the bathroom, he's going to have a couple of us hold onto his legs and slide him into the stall all exorcist style. The time comes and recruit can't crap excuses himself. We all follow our DI into the bathroom and slide under there like he's the spawn of Satan. This catches recruit can't crap by surprise. He doesn't know what the hell is going on, as the DI is utterly berating him about lying and using this as an excuse to sit on the toilet. Then we hear a very audible, "Oh crap," from the stall. The DI scared the recruit so much, he actually took a crap right then and there. The DI made every recruit look at it and we played taps for it as we flushed it down the toilet. Story 18. Just got off the trail a month ago. The biggest standout for me was while conducting a urinalysis, UA. We have a set of things we tell the soldiers to do. Wash your hands without soap, open the cup, place it on the urinal. At that point I usually say, "Situate yourself and I think you can take the rest from there." This kid at that point tried to climb on top of the urinal to fill the cup still placed on top of it. I had to yell at him to stop and tell him to pick up the cup to urinate in it. I almost had to walk out because I was going to lose it. In probably 1,000 UAs that I've had to be there for, I've never had a kid climb the urinal. Edit. Thought of some more to add. One of the soldiers somehow got a Forest Ranger hat. Looks pretty close to a DS campaign hat. He then started raiding soldiers' rooms with soldiers in them, while his buddy recorded them on his phone. This is AIT, so they have phones in semi-private 3-man rooms. We ended up finding the videos uploaded on Facebook and figure out who it was who took the hat and disciplined him. However, the videos were funny as hell and his impressions of some of us were pretty spot on. And now, a fun thing I used to do to mess with them. So I was a DS in AIT, Advanced Individual Training, at the Army. One of the first since they brought them back. In AIT, they have a bit more freedom and they can have certain things in their rooms. One of the things they like getting and usually hid in the locker would be a Google Mini or an Echo Dot. When doing room inspections of a soldier that had a crap room, I would randomly say things like, "Okay Google, set an alarm for 1 a.m." or "Alexa, play Katy Perry at 2 a.m." I'd have super confused soldiers in the morning at physical training wondering why they had random alarms going off all night. Story 19. A story from my perspective as a recruit in Navy boot camp. We had an inspection the following day, so our chief was going around inspecting inside everyone's rack to make sure it was squared away. Eventually, he made it over to my section. He was checking the rack bunk bed that opens up beside me and had it propped open so I couldn't see his face and kind of forgot he was there. He's searching through this guy's stuff and sees his small gloves. He asks, "You know what they say about small gloves?" Now, keep in mind, I don't think any of my RDCs heard me talk until this point. And I said, without any hesitation, "Oh, I know that's not true. I wear a size 12 boot, but I can tell you right now, I don't have a size 12 dong." And my chief slammed the rack shut and looked at me. What the hell? He then stormed off into the fishbowl, and all you could hear was him trying to hold back his laughter in the office with the two petty officers. Story 20. Whenever a recruit would let one rip, we would make them turn on the vacuum cleaner, which meant we would yell, "Who the hell just crapped themselves? This recruit is attempting to attack our olfactory sense. Platoon, turn on the vacuum," which would be followed by, "Turn on the vacuum, aye aye, sir." And then all the recruits would suck in through their mouths as hard as they could. However, one time we had a recruit who immediately answered when we asked who crapped themselves that, "This recruit crapped himself, sir." Turns out Recruit Jones crapped himself during a late night drill session in 3rd phase. By then, recruits are disciplined and almost always put the mission first, even if that mission is just executing left face march, without asking to go to the head. Poor kid sat in his own crap for almost 2 hours. Story 21. I have two. We had a recruit night who just couldn't do anything right. He couldn't even put on camo paint. So we were out in the field and our DIs had him completely black his face with it. I'm talking ears, inside his nose, even his lips. Then they made him walk around with another recruit whose name was also Knight and happened to be black and pointed him while saying, "Recruit Knight is as black as night." I saw quite a few other DIs chuckle at that. Then on our last day before graduation, our J-Hat came in and told us we were our DI's first actual platoon as a DI, and he was going to wake us up on the morning of graduation. So he hatched the plan, and that morning, when he came out and screamed, "Get online!" we all ran to the end of our tracks, but half of the squad bay was wearing togas and the other half butt naked. He basically did a double take and bust out laughing. Then we did push-ups for like 10 minutes. Story 22. Not a DS but went to Army Basic. I was in the chow line nut to butt looking at the back of the guy's head in front of me. All of a sudden I can feel one of my drill sergeants breathing on me over the separation wall and he yells, "OP, who is your daddy?" To which I responded, of course, "You are, drill sergeant." My other DS sprints over and says, "Oh yeah, what does that make me then?" And all I thought to say was, my mommy, drill sergeant." Every DS in the chow hall was dying, and I got the dog crap smoked out of me outside. When I was in AIT to be a medic at Fort San, we had to toe to line for bed check. Stand on a yellow line by your bunk in PTs/shower shoes holding your ID card with your tags hanging out. We used to screw with each other hard in our bay, and right before toe to line, one of my buddies hid one of my shower shoes. So I'm in a rush thinking, oh god, okay, I'll just wear the one. So I'm standing at half attention in one flip-flop, and my bare foot is just kind of tucked away behind me. The guy checking comes up and just looks down directly at my feet, crosses his arms and says, "OP, what in Sam hell are you doing?" All I could get out to say was, "Sergeant, I couldn't find my shower shoe for bed check." And I think he'd been saving this one because he started to smirk and just yelled, "God damn it, OP, you're more ate up than a chocolate dong in a gay bar," triggering giggles and snickers all throughout the bay. Thankfully, our school cadre were a lot more chill than drill sergeants. So there's some posts in this thread that have mentioned the funny person at basic or whatever. I think OP was the funny person. Like, what do you mean you called a drill sergeant your mommy? Man, what are you doing? Like, you're hilarious, but you are asking for trouble. Story 23. A pair of battle buddies were late for formation. Everyone was lined up waiting for them to get dressed, and they ran down about 3 seconds apart from each other, which was a big mistake. First one runs out. Drill screams, "Freeze, motherfricker! Are you supposed to have someone with you?" And without skipping a beat, the private replied, "The force is always with me, drill sergeant." After thinking about it for a second, he told the private to shut up and fall in line. His buddy, meanwhile, had made his way outside and was trying, poorly, to sneak in a line. The drill sergeant sees the private sneaking. "Well, now hold on a freaking second. Who's this freaking big shot over here walking around like he owns the place? You the new top? You think you're special?" Private says, "No, drill sergeant, I'm the force." Everyone, including the lead drill, lost their minds for 2 seconds. Story 24. Not a DS myself, but I was in during 05 and we had a guy who was 7th generation army, everyone was high ranking, blah blah blah. Compensation for his little dong, basically. Mom and dad were supposedly E9s. Turns out they were just E6 and E7, important because it sets up his history of lying. First night he cries all freaking night. Starts to do it again. DS makes us all stand around his bunk and sing him to sleep. Cause what kind of man signs up for the military if they know they're gonna miss mama and dada? So he was obviously a lost kid. But the point of our story is one day formation on the way to the chow hall. DS is being really nice and shooting the crap with us, taking questions about being deployed, what AIT was like, etc. Suddenly our hero decides the most brilliant idea ever. Run up and snatch the DS's hat and run away with it. Now, for those of you who don't know, you do not get that hat easily. DSs go through a whole nother form of training for DS, like basic all over again, so you do not screw with the hat. It's a major sign of disrespect. And this dude just took it and ran. DS talks for about 3 more seconds and suddenly stops as the situation catches up with him. His eyes go wide with shock as he raises his hand and passes it over his head from front to back. I swear to God, I was right in front of him and saw his eyes go from nice guy to murder.exe, and he booked it after private. Somehow being 7th generation army, he did not know how to run, but the DS sure freaking did. Caught him in no time and then rolled down a hill. We hear some hilarious sounds and the DS comes up. He very carefully puts his hat back on and looks at us. Who the hell saw what happened? No one dares to respond. Apparently, that's what he wanted. Okay, you have permission to laugh for exactly 10 seconds. Then we're gonna get some chow. I'm going to have someone pick up Private No Nuts, and you're all going to give a statement. The absolute mother freaking truth. Side note, later on found out he was recycled so much during basic he was sent to RHC. I forget what it stood for, but we all referred to it as Return Home Company. While he was out processing for a less than honorable discharge, but his parents had convinced those in charge to take their time so he could learn a lesson. Good times. Story 25. When getting to the depot, you get rid of all personal items aside from your wallet, phone book, glasses, and religious items. It was second phase and we were drilling on the parade deck. We finish and are marching back to the house when our DI catches someone smiling. He says, "Oh good, something's funny. Empty out your pockets." Recruit empties his pocket contents, and he has a pen, knowledge card, and lo and behold, a dollar bill. Our DI was dumbfounded. He asked, "Why the hell do you have money? You going to the strip club after this?" The recruit responded, I heard we get to use the vending machine if we do well."